Anyway, one can see, and I should stress with Alzheimer's, it is not a natural consequence of aging, it is a specific disease. Sadly, one that features primarily in older people, but it is not a consequence of aging. But we can think of it as a loss of the mind due to the dismantling of those connections, the personalization of the brain. But you might say, well, hang on, we can lose our mind in other ways, nicer ways, possibly. We can blow our minds, we can let ourselves go. Interesting phrase, let yourself go, what does that mean? You can have a sensational time, a time where a word is stripped of all cognitive content, can't you? Now, these phrases, which we use so glibly and easily, to my mind, actually are very similar, and they are suggesting something like this. Here we are. Here's us in an hour or two's time. Yeah? So these people are in a world stripped of all cognitive content. Yeah? Techno. And the premium, and seriously, the premium is on raw sensation, bright lights, the beat, correct me if I'm wrong, experts who go to these things, the beat of the music. It's the beat of the music, it's not the romantic lyrics or the meaning of the words, you know. It's more the raw sensations that are coming. And these people are right in the present. They are not thinking about the past or the future, I don't imagine. They don't look like they're thinking about their mortgage, do they? Or what they're going to do afterwards. So these are people, as we all are, when we go skiing or dancing or have sex or eat nice food or have a fine wine, so I'm not being rude about people going to raves, we all have our own ways of letting ourselves go, of having a sensational time. And what all those very diverse ways have, wine, women and song, drugs and sex and rock and roll, what they have in common, I would suggest, is an abrogation of the sense of self. That is to say, where you are the passive recipient again of raw sensations, like the small child. Raw sensation, yucca, wow. And you're just responding. You are not self-conscious. You are conscious, you are not self-conscious. If you are, you wouldn't dance like this, I don't think. You're not self-conscious. You feel at one with everyone else. And people on ecstasy say they do feel at one with everyone else. And the very word ecstasy in Greek means to stand outside of yourself. And the way drugs work, drugs such as ecstasy, is guess what? They impair the connections. They work on those transmitters and impair the functioning of the connections. So one can think then of the mind, a temporary loss of mind in this world. What's fascinating is we pay money to do this, that's another story. But it's a world characterized by experience, by raw sensation, by direct experience coming in from the outside world, the mind on hold, the mind disabled, those connections not being used or pressed into service. Instead, the much more simple, direct sensory processing that characterizes the early brain, where understanding will be suspended. And I'm suggesting that understanding is seeing one thing in terms of something else, and related to that, as I've said, the significance would be the personalized configuration. So your mum has a significance to you shared by no one else. So I thought, because I was talking to creative people, I'd show I wasn't such a Philistine. Here we have a picture. This will mean different things to different people in different ways, because this is playing to your personalized connections, your personalized view, your personalized experiences and values and thoughts and memories, both visceral and highly cognitive and academic and emotional and personal and so on, so that we would all get something very different, I imagine, when we look at this. So I'd like to suggest, therefore, the mind is the personalization of your brain through the unique dynamic configuration of neural connections, in turn driven by your unique experiences. No one has your life, not even an identical twin. It's giving you a unique narrative. You have a unique life story. And it's a life story, and your mind enables you, unlike animals, to know the past and the future, to be able to be aware of a sequence through which you are gradually evolving, changing every moment. Okay, so given all that, we're now going to look at the future, and then we're going to look at creativity at the end. So what will be the effects of screen culture now? I hope I've set this up sufficiently to convince you you have a unique brain. The good news is it's highly sensitive to the environment. The bad news is that it's also therefore very vulnerable to whatever is happening in the environment. So when we create an environment where we have young people spending some average 6 hours a day living in 2 dimensions, is that going to change their thinking? Is that going to change their minds, their mindsets? Let's think about that. Well, I would suggest that if you're looking at a screen, by definition it's going to be strongly visual, that you're going to be very literal rather than abstract. The screens and icons are not very good at giving abstract concepts like